Planetside. Murder spree.
Oh my god, we're doing it! Get inside, get inside! Holy cow. You guys are boss. Good stuff.
Hello fellow Raxians. Today I'm going to get into a long requested video covering implants. Holy crap, I just realized I have had my Happy Holidays banner on all year long. But I guess I did myself a favor and saved a click this year. All ready to go. Anyways, implants. I usually advise against getting into them right away because they are expensive. That being said, you will notice pretty quick if you don't have them when you switch to a character without them. They become pretty important to your gameplay. So let's dive into how you get implants first. The completely free way to do it is playing alerts. You need to be there at the end of the alert. Played the first 88 minutes but log out 2 minutes early? No alert rewards for you. So make sure you don't log out till the end of that alert. For the mini alerts, the winners usually get a crate that gives you 2 alerts and the losers just get 25 ISO. For the Continental Lock alerts, it's 100 certs, 100 ISO 4 if you lose, 300 certs, 250 ISO 4 if you win. These are the free-to-play numbers. You'll get more if you have a membership. Now, outside of the alerts, how do you get implants? And more importantly, how do you upgrade them? And that is through this tab in the depot. You can click through from the implant tab where it says get packs and it will get you there. Your first option is the basic implant pack. Never purchase this. I know it's tempting. You have a new character. You just want to get something. But when you do the math, you basically get 5% less with this pack. It's worth waiting to get the deluxe implant pack. So if you've made it to the point where you have upgraded your characters the way you want, you've gotten the weapons you want, you've really spent the certs you need to get a good kit, then you're going to move into the implant grind. And that is done with this. The deluxe implant pack, you spend 750 certs for 225 ISO 4. Not really. You actually get 9 implants. But if you get into the grind, you're going to find most of the time they're implants you already have. So after you buy the pack, you're going to end up going back to your implant tab and you're going to hit breakdown duplicates. So the implants that you got from the pack will be converted into the upgrade currency, which is ISO 4. On the topic of ISO 4, you do have the option to buy an ISO 4 recycler. This has better chances to drop the exceptionals and the rare implants. But you have to spend your ISO 4 currency or Daybreak cash. And that means you run the risk of converting 500 ISO 4 into 25 ISO 4. If it's an implant you already have that just happens to be one of the regular ones. So if you really want to go after exceptionals, this may be worth it. I will tell you, I never buy these. I am a completionist. I want to upgrade all the implants. So I just use the deluxe implant packs. And in the grind, I have unlocked almost all of the exceptional implants. Before we move on, I want to do a little math here for you. With implants, you basically convert 750 certs to 225 ISO 4. That could also be stated as 50 certs to 15 ISO 4 or 100 certs to 30 ISO 4. My point here is it can sort of help change your perception of how much a cert is worth. Everyone was kind of looking at pumpkins like, oh, 50 certs, that's a ton. Well, really, if you think about it with the grind now, it's really 15 ISO 4. So it's going to take you 3,675 ISO 4 to upgrade any of your implants. So the scale of how much a cert is worth has really been reduced. If you get into the implant grind game, 50 certs honestly is not a lot. Now I will say 90% of the implants I never use. It doesn't mean they have no use, it just means they're extremely situational, and I never really find myself in those situations. This is my go-to. If I say, hey, I really like that patch, I'll go buy a few implant packs to just speed the grind along. But most of the implant grind I have done free to play. But if you're a completionist like me, and maybe you're newer, if you want to grind the whole thing, membership and boosts are highly recommended. If you're not a completionist, you are honestly going to get all the implants you need in the first few crates you open, and then you can just grind ISO 4 and upgrade only the ones you specifically need. And you can basically choose those by looking at my advanced training guides, see a loadout you like and say, okay, I'm going to upgrade that implant, and that implant, and that's going to basically give me everything I need. Assimilate you can use across a bunch of different loadouts. The way the implants are set up is rank 1 that you start with through rank 4 generally are just improving the base feature of the implant. And then the final rank will add some unique additional feature to the implant. When you get an implant, you receive it at rank 1. To get to rank 2 is 75 ISO 4. To rank 3 is 225 ISO 4. To rank 4 is 900 ISO 4. And then to get that final rank, the Mega, it is 2475 ISO 4. Okay guys, let's dive in. I am going to go through every single implant right now. Aerial Combatant. This implant was nerfed. The combo used to be Safe Fall and Aerial Combatant with the Ambusher jump jets, because it used to instantly refill your Ambusher jump jets on kill. You could jump in, kill someone, and immediately jump away. Now though, rather than having a cooldown, your Ambusher jump jets slowly recharge their energy. You just can't use them till it fills. So it is not as powerful with ambushers and lost most of its functionality. I could see some niche situations to use it, but in general, there's always a better option. I don't use this implant anymore. Okay, next up is Ammo Printer. This is a terrific implant. I use it primarily on vehicles and in sniper nest type of loadouts. Something where you're not going to be supported by engineers or ammo buses. I really like it on ESFs for aerial anomaly alerts. Sure, you can just redeploy out and get a free aircraft, but I hate leaving the battle. I've gone an entire alert without dying or restocking because I had this implant. There is no special max rank feature to this implant. The time between ammo drops just is reduced as you go up in tiers. This is one I wouldn't spend too much ISO 4 on upgrading until you have some of the other key ones done. Assassin 5. This is really an infiltrator-based loadout. If you're a sniper, it can clear spots. If you're a close-up SMG infiltrator, it can also clear spots. I don't use it. The rank 5 feature, spot if you do damage to someone, I just spot them with Q. And if I'm in stealth mode, I need other important implants like sensor shield, so this one just isn't very useful. Next one, Assimilate. Max rank this as soon as you possibly can. It is good for every single class. Currently I run Combat Surgeon and Carpace, but if I didn't have Carpace, I'd probably be running Assimilate with it. I use it on my light assault, I use it on some of my infiltrator loadouts, and it is so important for any heavy assault. Get it, improve it as fast as you possibly can. To be honest, the rank 5 feature, the 10% ability energy, is not that big a deal. Like for heavy assault, that adds 45 effective health. Increases your overshield by 45 points. The big feature is the 200 shield. That will keep you alive, that will get you into battle faster. This is the one implant I notice more than any others. If I go to play an alt that doesn't have it, life is hell. Okay, next up is Athlete. The big feature on this one is the recovery speed by 20%. That is, say you die. When you stand up, you basically have to pull out your weapon again. And with like an LMG, that's kind of slow. This one reduces that speed by 20%. It does have a nice max rank feature. After 6 seconds, it also turns into an adrenaline pump for you, giving you a sprint speed boost. This implant is good. I will say there are usually 2 better choices that I end up with on most of my loadouts. But for example, I use this to farm my 292 kph weapon. It also works well if you're doing safeguard battle and you're not bringing Carpace. Okay, battle hardened. If screen shake bothers you, this is the implant for you. It absolutely used to be the meta along with Assimilate for heavy assault. But people have found that if you're doing it really well, A, you're not getting shot, so it doesn't do anything for you. And B, the ability to escape with Survivalist usually gives you more potential than the ability to kill with battle hardened. You will notice extra flinch without it, but it is certainly survivable. Okay, next up is Cat-like. To be honest, the real functionality of this implant does not come till rank 5. You get a significant jump boost when you max out this implant. Most people are going around this little hill, I can go right up it with Cat-like. Crouch speed, sure, can help your 1v1 crouch game a little bit, but again, I find there's better implants for those types of engagements. I use this usually on SMG or CQC infill, especially open field stuff where you can kind of make a crazy jump and escape through a rock pile while you're invis and they can't really track you. Okay, next up is Combat Surgeon, and here we get to the class-specific implants. This is a combat medic only implant. Kills and revives restore 30% of your nano regen device energy at max rank. Now that's a good deal no matter what. If you're on a hectic point hold, even if you're not getting the kills, you're going to have your nano regen device running a lot to heal up alloys. But it ends up synergizing really well with Carpace. You can see here all my healing is coming from restoration kits and my nano regen device. And every time I kill someone, it just feeds my nano regen device. So those heals keep flowing, really giving me a lot of uptime. Definitely recommend getting it upgraded if you get that one. Next one is going to be Covert Drop. I never use it, guys. A few seconds of invisibility till I fire my weapon just isn't interesting to me. Sure, it can net you the first kill, but then for every kill after that, there's a different implant I'd want in that slot. Next one up is Critical Chain. This is a badass implant. No, this does not work with your semi-auto shotgun. Sorry, this is sniper rifles only. Great for your CQC loadouts and good for your long-range sniping as well. Now, I get questions a lot of people asking about effects they see on my screen, and those are usually based off of some implant I'm using. So, for example, here on this Critical Chain implant, when I'm not scoped in after I land a headshot kill, you're going to see a white sphere kind of lightning on one of my hands. And that is the visual cue that you have triggered your Critical Chain implant. And then what it does is it's going to reduce your rechamber time. So this is going to allow you to take shots in a much more rapid succession. Sometimes it'll save you if two guys are running at you. Or if you're long range sniping, it's just all the faster between shots you can take. Okay, next up is Deep Operative. There was originally some controversy around this because it seemed like it didn't do anything. I used it here and there along with Cat-like on some of my aggressive CQC loadouts. In the end, it just didn't feel like it did enough, and I kind of dropped it for other implants in that slot, be it Assimilate, or Battle Hardened, or Critical Chain, or even Sensor Shield sometime, depending on what I was doing. Next up is Electrotech. This is an interesting implant, sort of intended for those intense point holds where you're supporting maxes. If an EMP or grenade went off and took your shields down, you'd end up healing all your maxes or your walls or your turrets. All I know about this implant is one of our engineers was running it, and I think a friendly shot his shields down and it triggered a nearby C4. Don't know if it was friendly or enemy. It blew up 7 friendlies and he was weapons locked for the next 2 hours. He hasn't touched it since, and I've stayed away from it as well. So I guess I'd say maybe don't get rank 5 if you don't want to risk that happening to you. And otherwise, all the features are really nice. Moving on, next we have Failsafe. The rank 5 feature of dealing 150 damage back to melee attackers is weird and not useful to me, so don't worry about that. But the 20% ability energy return on shield break seemed interesting to me. That works out to be 90 effective health for a heavy assault. I tried it for a bit, and again, compared to Survivalist or Assimilate, it just doesn't bring enough utility to that build to beat either of those other implants. More testing could be done, I just haven't found a place where it's better than other options. Fortify. This was like one of the last implants that I could just not land. I finally got it. I was super excited. I didn't understand what interact meant. I thought that just meant when you get a tick of attacking or defending a point in a base. But no, you have to full on walk up to the control point and press and hold E on it like it's a shield gen. And that just totally ruins this implant. If you had 1200 effective health pre-overshield just for standing near a point, that would be a pretty badass implant, maybe even OP, along with a heal for the rank 5 bonus. But the whole having to go over and interact with it just makes it a pain to use. Sure, maybe you could time it right for 1 kill, but running back to the control point every 15 seconds just isn't fun. Again, different implants beat it in the loadout. Gunslinger, awesome for working on pistol Araxiums. It's also good in the sense that if you run out of ammo, whip out your pistol, kill someone, you can then rapidly swap back to your main and still have a reload bonus. Cool concept, probably good for farming. Again, the swap and reload reductions with this implant don't really beat out the run speed and shield cooldown reductions of Survivalist, and can't hold a candle to the shield return of Assimilate. Heavyweight, this is really if you want to get rid of flinch while you're using a max. You get a bonus that if you take a little bit of fall damage, you can emit an impulse. I don't know. The negative of 10% reduced run speed at all times just is not worth it to me. Next one is Jockey 5. The main benefit is being in an exposed vehicle seat. I have never used it this way. Where this implant is badass is if you are using an engineer mana turret. The engineer will get a little additional shield effect if he's using this implant while he's on his mana turret, and he will be super hard to kill. They can take a lot of hits when they're using this implant. We have had many a triple stack point holds won because one of our engineers set up a mana turret with this implant. Quick side note there, my ISO 4 was bumped up by 5 because of the alert that was going on. As long as you are there at the end, you get a percentage reward based on the amount of time you were there. Next up is Mending Field. You passively heal your allies below 300 health, and if you have max rank, so will your shield bubble. Got my combat loadout that has Combat Surgeon and Carpace, and then my explosive survival loadout that has ocular shield and response jacket, even though that one does use the shield bubble. There's just not a place I can really justify using this over some of the other great implants. I will say, as a heavy, it sure is convenient to walk into a shield bubble and get healed as well. Next one is Mobility Mesh. It keeps your speed up a bit while you have your shield on. If you're using a 0.5 movement modifier ADS weapon, it takes your speed while your shield's up from super duper slow to super slow. It certainly has its uses. There's other implants I'd max out before it. And the next heavy assault only implant, the Nanomesh Specialist, kind of eliminates the need to manage your shields. I don't know, shield management's pretty easy to me, so I don't use it that much. I did throw this on my thumper loadout because I find myself standing in a doorway a lot with the shield up in case someone wants to snipe at me, but not taking a lot of hits. In those situations, it sort of does something. Next up, Nightmare. This is the implant I have seen the most questions on in Yell Chat. That dude was shooting at me while he was invisible. Now, this implant did get nerfed. It used to be that upon killing someone, you had 2 seconds of invisibility and you could fire a weapon while you were invisible. Now you are immediately decloaked on shooting. For the first few ranks, it works with melee weapons, but it really becomes a force to be reckoned with when you reach rank 5, and then it's any weapon as long as you kill your target within 5 meters. And so what this is really for is light assaults with pump action shotguns getting into groups. They get in there with that one-hit kill weapon. They seem to be constantly invisible, running around, creating chaos. If you see a guy that shoots at you while they are cloaked, this is the implant they're using. Next one up is Ocular Shield. This is a really terrific implant. This is my shitty building point hold loadout implant go-to. At that point, I'm usually running my flak armor to deal with frags and C4, but that's not all that's coming at you. You got EMP, flashes, concussion grenades. This implant really helps protect you from all those things that don't do direct explosive damage. Visibility so you can defend yourself, avoid the sensitivity drop of concussion grenades, and not lose all of your shield to an EMP grenade. The rank 5 bonus of making you immune to those effects for 5 seconds is really just like if your room's getting hammered, you took a frag and you're popping a medkit, it gives you a few seconds of relief. It's not worth trying to time and preempt medkits if you're not injured. Next one is Overdrive. I haven't spent a lot of time in the vehicles that would use this implant, but I could absolutely see its use when you're plowing through a bunch of enemies. Turbo right through them, immediately get your turbo back to get out of there. Next one is Paratrooper. To be honest, I've never used this. Other than a few specific ones, I don't base my loadouts around taking damage. But as long as there's no cooldown between the jump jet return, I could see this really helping you escape while you're under fire. Next one we have Ransack. I really like the look of the implant on paper, but it hasn't really been field tested. In tanks, I'm usually using EOD HUD, which is a must, and then ammo printer. I could really see this one replacing ammo printer, but my initial testing, I was still running out of ammo. I was not getting enough kills within 50 meters to keep up with my ammo loss. Regeneration. This is a very simple one, helps keep you healed. Please do note, if your faction owns a biolab that is connected to your territory, you will already have a lesser version of this, and the 50 health on headshot kill just is not a big enough deal. Again, I'm usually finding other implants that provide more than this one. Next one up is Response Jacket. Please note this does not stack with flak armor. You cannot get 100% explosive reduction. But this implant does allow you to run nanoweave and still get most of the benefits of flak armor. The one thing that it doesn't bring though is it has to be triggered. So if you get hit by a frag grenade where flak armor would have saved you, and this implant hasn't triggered, you may still die. Revenant 5, this is the most recently added implant, came with a recent Halloween directive. Seems like it could be kind of fun or funny in a tight building point hold where every time people are getting revived, they're making everyone go invisible. But it is certainly not the most effective option. Next one up, we have Robotics Technician. Now you probably saw this one in use by me in the Engineer Advanced Training Guide. So the implant reduces the damage your deployables take, like your mana turret, your AV turret, your Spitfire, or your shield by 25%. At max rank, it will actually add a small heal over time effect to them. But that damage reduction will also apply to the engineer in the case they're mounted on an AI mana turret. So if you remember back to that Jockey implant, which adds a bunch of health to the engineer, Robotics Technician pairs with it really well when you're using the AI mana turret. You can see here if you're using it in conjunction with the Spitfire turret will get a small glowing red outline on it. And it really takes the Spitfire turrets from very fragile, dainty things to something that can actually take a decent beating. I wouldn't use a Spitfire turret at all without this implant equipped. So yes, I do highly recommend the engineer-specific implant Robotics Technician. Definitely get that ranked up. If you don't get the heal from rank 5, you spend a lot of time with your repair tool out, constantly maintaining your spitty. Okay, next up we have one of the easy ones to acquire, Safe Fall. And man, when you got this thing, you've got legs of iron. You can fall from huge heights. It's a must-have with the Ambusher jump jets. You don't have as much control, so you never know when you're going to take a big drop. Use those. Can also be good if you ever use the Icarus jump jets. And then outside of that, maybe you need to defend a tower or hop off some high place. Pop it on your heavy assaults and your medics, and they'll never know what hit them when you land and don't take any damage. Next one is Safeguard, and you start with this implant. And some people may be like, well, you shouldn't build your loadout around dying. But the reality is dying is part of this game. And depending on what you do, if you're big into doing difficult point holds, then there's a lot more dying involved. If you want to get a taste of just what this implant can do, please refer back to the Heavy Assault Guide, where I show how you can break a room with Safeguard. I wouldn't dump a lot of ISO 4 into it right away, but it is a useful implant. Don't forget about it. Salvage. I use this one on my max. It's basically a siphon. Kill a max, get health back. Kill him close range, get even more. If I am engineer supported, I will ignore this one. In those cases, you either win or lose the fight, and then the engineer does all the healing. But maxes don't have a ton of options, and this is a good one. Next one is Censure Shield. I really love this implant. There is so much intel out there. It's tough if you're playing alone and you want to kind of just get a few kills. Because you walk by one sensor dart and all 50 enemies are honing right in on you because they know exactly where you are on the map. This one can give you a little additional privacy. You'll have to use it in conjunction with a suppressor, or your shots will make you show up on the minimap. Next one is Sidewinder. Increases your strafe speed. I have seen some people use this to great effect. They focused on using hipfire directions and strafing in one direction, so able to face and fire at you while moving quickly. I have not put it to use myself though. Next one we have Survivalist. The key piece is when your shields break, you get a massive speed boost. You can haul out of that engagement fast. On top of that, you get reload speed reduction, so you can get your weapon up and running again, and it also knocks off 1 second until your shield starts recharging. All three of those are just really useful benefits. I guarantee people have called speed hacks because of this implant. If an enemy gets a white swirly around them, that means they're using this and it's been triggered. Next up, Sweeper HUD. I use this religiously on my vehicles and my maxes. There are tank mines everywhere. You definitely got to get it ranked up or you just don't see the mines soon enough for it to be useful. But man, driving without it is such a pain once you get used to be able to see all the explosives around. Symbiote. This is basically the inverse of the response jacket. You can get the effective nanoweave without wearing it. Then you could wear flak armor, for example, in your suit slot. Works really nice in biolabs, high action areas. The last time I used it, it did feel bugged. It felt like I was always getting a chunk eaten out of me at 15 seconds when at max rank it's not supposed to be until 30 seconds. Target focus, this is the other implant you start with. Lets you see the target's health from far away. Good for hold breath with sniping. It gets outclassed pretty quickly by other implants, but it will always have its uses. Vampire. This one is excellent for Carpace knifing loadouts. I have one for both medic and infill. When there's a big ball around that you can get into the middle of, you can do a lot of damage and it's tough to stop you because there is so much siphon from every kill you get. Okay guys, from here we are moving on into the exceptional implants. I have max ranked all the other ones. RNGesus has not allowed me to complete the exceptional implants. These ones are all pretty straightforward though. You can see what avoidance does there. You no longer trigger explosives. Bionics is one I would be excited to mess around with if it ever came up for me. This would pair very well with things like the Engineer's innate shield regen reduction or advanced shield capacitor. Just got to be careful though, because EMPs would almost wipe you all the way out. Next one is the much coveted by many Carpace. I will say its potential has been nerfed a lot, so don't feel too bad if you don't have it. It works well on heavy if paired with a medic, but the place it really shines is medic with Combat Surgeon. Your nano regen device keeps topping off your health. Your kills and revives keeps topping off your nano regen device. Now there are some other huge benefits to Carpace, and you're going to see one of them right here. You're basically immune to EMPs. They do 0 damage to you. Sure, your screen's going to change color a bit, but who cares? The big negative with Carpace, though, is chip damage. With shields, you're always 6 seconds away from getting half your health back, no matter what happens to you. With Carpace, if you've drained your nano regen device, if you don't have any more resto kits, and you're down at 50 health, you are stuck at 50 health. It's not going back up. Well, a biolab can help you out, but you don't always have those. So it's useful, but it has its limits. Coldheart is a VS-specific implant. No, that's sort of a joke. Just VS is the only one with weapons that use the heat mechanic. I've heard mentions of engineer repair tools or turrets benefiting from this. While technically true, no, just no. Having to land a headshot with a weapon and then switch over to your repair tool for 3 seconds of reduced cooldown, no. Counterintelligence is handy for flying, or I like it on a max sometimes. Gives you intel on whoever spots you. You know where they are on the map. Disengage. I do actually use this one on my max. It's the replacement for sprint. It's a teeny tiny sprint. It's a slower sprint and a shorter sprint. But it is just enough to make it back to cover sometimes. The knockback really doesn't serve much of a purpose. This is what it looks like to get knocked back. It's pretty minor, that piece of it. I wouldn't say is what saves me. But it's nice to have a small sprint when you hit that heal. Experimental stims for those who want some randomness in their life. Firewall, I've never messed around with it. I could see it confusing an infiltrator and a Spitfire, but it is so niche. Like, you'd have to have a loadout specifically for Firewall to go out and hack things and put firewalls on things, which would amount to no more of a minor inconvenience for the enemies. Next one is Infor Vision. I get a lot of questions on this implant. What it basically does is it takes your HRNV scope and it makes it your entire vision full-time. I use it a lot on a bolt action loadout because you don't really need other implants. So this just makes all the heads pop, makes it really easy to pick them out and fire at them. There is one massive negative with this implant though. You cannot see cloaked infiltrators. You saw that guy literally vanish in my screen. I was running around hoping I could find him, but once they're cloaked, they're completely gone. So it's fun every now and then, but it lacks the mechanical advantage that either Critical Chain or a Cat-like might give you. And I do find myself starting to crutch on it a bit and not pick out targets as well when I go back to the normal sight. Next one we have is Logistics Specialist. Sunderers, Valkyries, and Galaxies have this by default where anyone can spawn into the squad version of it. This takes that effect and applies it to any vehicle. Can be useful when you're doing vehicle ops. The problem is you got to trade it out for something important like EOD HUD or ammo printer or Ransack. Minor Cloak, I've literally never seen it used against me in game. I will equip it sometimes when I'm playing Platoon Lead because I'm constantly staring at the map and someone sneaks up and kills me. So at least then I can still play heavy, stand still, and go invis. And finally, Phylactery, as long as you've had 50 experience instances since your last death, will give you the chance to self-revive. You will get the traditional revive prompt after a few seconds of being dead. This was originally a Halloween reward and is now in with the implant pool from unlocking bundles. Okay guys, that is quite a haul getting through all of the implants. I know I didn't cover everything. I tried to get the key points that I was thinking about, but the next place to take it to is the comments. If you want advice, ask down there. A lot of great Planet people will help you out. If I miss something, go ahead and drop a note down there. Someone will get to you or I'll be along. Again, implants are an important part of an advanced loadout. Just don't feel like you gotta dump all your certs into those loot crates. They will come steadily with time as you play alerts, and there's a lot of pieces of your kit that you can directly spend certs on to upgrade. Make sure you get those done in a timely manner. That's going to be it for now, fellow Araxians. And until next time, I will see you Planetside.